We have, I don't know if she's here. She is? Oh, there you are. Hi. Our volunteer appreciation. Jane, come on down.
Hello, Chair Hamilton and the rest of the Parks Board members. You can't hear me. Eat the mic.
There you go.
Is that better?
Yes.
Okay. Hello, Chair Hamilton and Parks Board members. Whereas the foundation of the City of Keizer is our motto, pride, spirit, and volunteerism that expresses both a vision and a statement of how we live and work together. And whereas many residents of this community contribute to the well-being of fellow residents in the Willamette Valley region by giving generously of their time, resources, and energy. And whereas many volunteers assist the City of Keizer in performing a multitude of duties, creating and sustaining valuable services, and making government by the people a reality. The members of the City Council, committees, boards, commissions, and task forces are all community volunteers. And whereas Keizer volunteers faithfully show up to help time after time, year after year, to take care of neighbors and community whenever there is a need, and whereas the City of Keizer values every one of our many Keizer volunteers and wishes to extend our deepest appreciation to all. Now, therefore, I, Kathy Clark, Mayor of the City of Keizer, together with the Keizer City Council assembled in regular session, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2023 as Volunteer Recognition Month, and ask all the people of Keizer to express their thanks to and join in with the many volunteers who continue to help and serve in our community. In witness thereof, Kathy has set her hand and caused the seal of the City of Keizer, Oregon, to be affixed to this document, which happened on the 3rd day of April 2023. So that was the proclamation from Mayor Clark. And so the volunteer committee thanks you all for your service, and all of the City of Keizer residents really appreciate all the time you give and showing up and being here. So thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
You can just start those over there and they can pass it down. And I'll have napkins.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you, Debbie. Awesome. Very cool.
Thank you.
You always like cookies.
We're getting our sugar fix.
Right? Yes, we are.
That's it. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. Let's do approval of the minutes for March.
I move that we approve the March minutes.
Lisa moves. Do we have a second?
A second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no.
No.
Okay.
Oh,
You're not saying no, though. Okay. Approval of the minutes. Appearance of interested citizens. Do we have a list? Thank you so much, Debbie. I think I saw someone sign in. RJ, yes? Do you want to come on up? I saw you sign in. I'm assuming that you're on that list? Yes. Come on up. Thank you. Perfect.
Am I good to go?
Yes, we're good.
Awesome. Chair Hamilton, board members, city staff. My name is Ramiro Navarro Jr. I am a Keizer resident. A lot of people know me for doing a bunch of stuff here in the community. One of the things that's really catching a lot of support lately is kayaking on the Willamette. We do those events, when we coordinate those events, we do them out of the Keizer Rapids Park. We've been doing that for a few years now. One of the biggest ones that we had was a veterans kayaking event where we had about 30 veterans come down and get on the water, and this was open to veterans from all over the community. These were individuals who had accessibility issues. They had other disabilities as well. And it was a great event. It was really awesome to see individuals that are out there that had amputees just getting in the water and having fun and spinning around in that still water area. And we hope to do it again. One of the things that we had gotten support with was the Oregon State Marine Board had expressed that they have a facilities grant that could support the city of Keizer in converting that boating dock area into a more accessible boating dock. I know that there was some talk around accessibility, improving access to accessibility docks last meeting, and I would just like to offer that as a resource. There is about 6 days left to apply for that, so I don't know if the board has the ability to entertain a motion to ask the city to submit a grant within those next 6 days, and possibly the Oregon State Marine Board could review the application and allow an amendment later on to be able to submit a more complete application. But yeah, I would really like to see that happen. I know that we had a bunch of folks in wheelchairs and mobility chairs that were out there, chariots. I'm also the board director on chariots for the city of Keizer. And so we were able to provide chariot lift rides out to Keizer Rapids. So yeah, I'm just here in support of everything that you guys do. You're doing an amazing job. I want to see how I can support you in doing that. And do you have any questions for me?
Any questions? You are correct. We did talk about accessibility. I don't remember if it was our last meeting or meeting before that. I don't know if there's capability of applying for and submitting a grant within a 6-day period of time. I know that when I've facilitated applying for grants, 6 days wouldn't be enough. But I don't know if that is something that we could investigate, or thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree with you. That seems like a very short period of
Yeah.
time. And I don't know the, details
Expectation.
as to what they're asking on that grant. It might be worth at least looking into.
Yeah.
See if it's, if it's something we can attempt. If not, is there going to be another one available in the very near future that we could look at and have a little more time to prepare? But we could definitely give it a read and see what we think.
Okay. Do you have any more details on that grant, or maybe how we can where would be the place for us to access that information?
Yeah, so the Oregon State Marine Board facilitates that grant, and it's called their Boating Facilities Grant Application. Their next cycle is the 2023-2025 year biennium, and the deadline's the 17th at 5 p.m. They are going to be reviewing those grants on the 28th of June, and they have a list of applications that have already been submitted. So if there was any interest to maybe copy one of those and figure out how that fits our community and tailor it to that, I think that would be a good place to start.
Do you have ideas already, like in your brain, of how accessibility would look specifically for that area? Because that is probably some kind of vision that you're going to need to submit with the grant application as well, other than just the request of funds. So that's another area. So 6 days to kind of do a whole vision planning of, so that just seems like a lot. So I'm trying to give you transparency with answer as much as I can, but also know that you're absolutely right. Accessibility to that access point is really, really crucial for water, for kayaking and other things.
Yeah, well, some
go ahead.
ideas that we had, because we were talking it over with the Oregon State Marine Board. We had Oregon Parks out there too. The Oregon Department of Veterans Affairs was out there. And they had some really cool ideas where it was adding just like a big square to the end of the dock.
Okay.
And that square would have a cutout in it so that kayaks could get dragged in there. And so the way that it would work is these individuals in the mobility chairs would go down the ramp with the kayak dragged behind them.
Okay.
They can pull it into this little net, and then there's a seat that they would sit on, and then with their upper body strength, they would
Pull
move
up in.
down one seat at a time, and then be able to get into the water, go into that still water area, paddle around, get back in, and do all that under their own power. It's so empowering. It's really exciting to me. I think that it's awesome. I'd really appreciate it. I know there's one other ramp like that was also paid for by this grant for veterans specifically, but it's down in the Eugene area.
Okay.
So there's not a whole lot of these grants, there's not a whole lot of these types of facilities,
Okay.
even though there's a huge need for it.
Do you have any, so the Eugene Park, is there like a name that we can reference so I can maybe even go there to see it or see what the device looks like that you're talking about? Those types of things, but would be really helpful.
Yeah, I can send you a link to the park. I'm forgetting what the name of it is off
Okay.
the top of my head. And then I can also attach like some of the websites that we were kind of looking into, because this isn't something that we could apply for. It was
Okay.
something that the city had to
Yep.
apply for. And we brought it up before, we've just never followed through with it.
Okay.
Because the whole parks master plan was going on, and that was kind of not as, the boat launch wasn't as a priority as the parks master plan, because the boat launch could always get attached to the existing ramp at any time. It didn't need the master plan for that. So yeah, I can absolutely send you some of that information and support you in everything that you're doing.
That would be really helpful, because then we have at least a recommendation or ideas that we can put forward versus kind of going in and not really knowing a lot about the details. So that'd be really helpful.
Yeah, do we have any idea on amount of the grant that we're looking for?
I think when we were investigating it, it was about $50,000, which is
50?
Yes,
Okay.
50. And that was in the ballpark of some of the general applications that the Oregon State Marine Board gets for numerous items.
Because what do we have, what's available?
For our
In
matching
our
grant,
matching?
not anything of that
Yeah.
caliber, but you're talking about applying for a grant to cover for the full cost.
Correct.
The other thing that would be helpful is any letters of support, those types of things would be really helpful too with that. Again, I'm not saying that we're doing that, but I'm just kind of like laying the foundation of if we were to apply those, like if you could help with that from the veterans group or your connections for that kayaking, that would be super helpful as well as you're thinking about applying for a grant like this. And then, of course, we need to make sure that staff have capacity to even help us out and meet that timeline. So those are all questions that I don't know the answers to.
Yeah, absolutely, too easy. We have two different veteran service organizations here in the city of Keizer, but we have a ton in the city of Salem.
Great.
So I can reach out to all those folks and get a letter of support if that was helpful for the grant.
Yeah.
I have another consideration. Isn't that dock removed in the winter?
Part of it.
Okay, so maybe not the part that we'd be attaching.
It would be that part.
Okay, so that's just something to consider if we can still remove it, because it has to come out because of the level of the river, correct? So that's just something else to consider since it is removed.
And the debris.
Right.
Yeah, and the debris.
Right,
yeah.
and I totally am gonna lean towards park staff to give recommendations on that piece. They know the river better than I know the river, and so I would say if we know a little bit about the plan or what the recommendation is, then we can look into it as a consideration, but I'm definitely gonna rely on park staff to help guide us, knowing that they know the dock situation, the weather situation, and all the impacts. So, yeah, but this is, I love the idea of accessibility, and access to the river is a huge part of our master plan. So making sure that everyone has access is really important. So great.
And I'd like to emphasize, sorry, I think
Oh,
Councilor
sorry.
Kohler had something.
Yeah.
Chair Hamilton, thank you. Mr. Johnson, has there been some challenge with accessibility with the steepness of the ramp?
Well, that was going to be my next question, actually, was you've got to witness folks accessing the ramp itself. What I am understanding you say is it's not as much the access to the ramp itself, it's once you're on the boarding docks, getting from those into a kayak or boat. Is that what I'm hearing correctly?
That's correct.
Okay, because I think I maybe misunderstood at the previous meeting, because it would be an extreme challenge for us to go changing the layout of the ramp
Right.
and the sidewalk, because I mean, that's kind of where that's built, it's a very steep cut bank. But if what we have there existing right now, they can get access onto our boarding docks. What sounds like you're requesting is that we would maybe add another partial behind that would be connected that would give them access to a place to park a wheelchair and then a certain type of setup to get from that down onto a kayak or boat.
Yes, that's absolutely correct. It
Perfect.
wasn't too steep for the individuals that were
Perfect.
attending this event.
Thank you.
That was my assumption when he first started talking, and then when you said about the dock kind of being added to it, I was like, well, that seems a lot more manageable than
Yes.
having to eat away certain
My
parts or
mind was like,
change
oh.
the whatever this is of
Yeah.
the ramp. So, okay, sorry, Councilor Fuller. Anything else?
I have a question. Is that a matching grant, do you know?
I believe it's not a matching grant. It is just typically like a one-time grant. But I would like to encourage the board to keep this kind of in their back pocket because you can use it for all sorts of opportunities. If you wanted to have a water event that was more inclusive to the Latino community, you could apply for a grant for that to be able to pay for the expenses of kayaks, trainers, translating materials, all sorts of things.
Awesome. And this is a good email for you?
Correct.
Wonderful. Any other questions?
Awesome.
Thank you. Well, hopefully we'll be in touch.
All righty, you guys have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't see anyone else signed up. So we'll move to new and old business. We have a grant request. It's on the back of your agenda. Thank you. So it looks like this is from Keizer Neighborhood Association. Rhonda, Rich, but Carol is going to be the project director. And it looks like, maybe you can take the lead on this since you met with her and discussed this project. That would be helpful.
Okay. No, it looks like there is a spot that there's high erosion and not a lot of water access. And this would put some plants there and try to keep that bank stable, and make it better. No, I think that this is a wonderful grant.
So this is the hillside on the northeast side of Willamette Manor Park.
Yep, right next to the play structure so there's the walkway, and on one side of the walkway is this bank that's right up against the houses, and then there is the play structures.
And the tennis court.
And the tennis courts down there. So there's a lot of activity there. And so what's planted there needs to be able to withstand feet and bicycle tires and
Kids.
and kids and
Dogs.
dogs and all sorts of things. So
Great. Okay.
So my name is Carol Phipps, and I'm with the West Keizer Neighborhood Association. And one of the things that we wanted to do this year was to provide our services to hopefully do some renovating at Willamette Manor Park. Last year we did services over at Palmacia Park, and we are continuing at Palmacia Park, wanting to continue with the upkeep of that as well. So one of the biggest things is, well, I say biggest thing, but if you put it in perspective, it's not like life-changing, but anyway, is this side where when they put in the walkways to make them more ADA accessible, they cut into the side of the hill, which was kind of slopey, very nice slope, and then it's become more of a drop, especially as you get further west on that side of the park. And I know that Robert and his crew came in one year and tried to plant vinca, and I don't know how many shoots you planted, but there's probably like 2 left, and so it wasn't very successful. And I know that the mud slides, and I know that they have put rock down at the bottom and it still slides. So the idea is to get some kind of ground cover that is tolerable for children and pets, since that's what that's the area. And kinnick, is that how you say it? Kinnick is a native plant to Oregon, and it's a ground cover, and it's durable. It likes dry soil, so that is an area that gets direct sun and no sprinklers. So I'm thinking it has a pretty good chance. So that's why we wrote the grant.
Well, and the jute cloth in here is, I mean, I didn't know much about it, and then at Palmacia, when they put in the path.
And it's holding.
The place where there
Yeah.
is that cloth, the path is still pristine, and the area that doesn't have that cloth, there's been a lot of erosion. So
Right.
I think that that's,
So West Keizer Neighborhood Association is volunteering their time to do this. And we're asking, that would be our 50%, I guess, is a matching grant. And so we're asking for monies for the plants and the jute and the stakes for the jute and possibly some fertilizer to get it started and maybe a couple buckets of dirt or something. So anyway.
okay.
Anything to add from park staff? No? Any motion on the table?
Any questions?
Or question, yes.
left?
About 1,800. So there's plenty there for this project and then some more left over still.
No, I believe in this. I'm going to move that we accept this grant request.
I'd second it.
Okay?
So we have a motion for the approval of the Parks Matching Grant for $650.
Okay. And can I amend my motion?
It hasn't been seconded.
It
We
was
had-
seconded.
Clay seconded.
Clay
it.
seconded, but I'd like to amend it so that we approve up to, but not exceeding $700, just in case, give $50 cushion,
Oh.
in case.
I priced out plants and I called around, so
She feels really good about
there's a
that.
huge difference depending on where you go. So,
Right.
and I used Robert's name
Good
when I
job.
called around, so,
So they charged more.
and
Maybe.
I actually went on, I was told how far apart to plant them. And so if we end up with more plants, we're just going to continue on down. So it's not like we don't have enough to do all the way to the street, but
Right.
we're not going to, if we end up buying too many, I went on and used a calculator thing to figure out how many I needed. And, but if it turns out that we have a few extra, we will continue on. We're not going to.
Yeah. I just
Yeah.
wanted to amend the amount, because of all the price changes in just a short amount of time. Yes, Robert?
Can I make a suggestion?
Of course.
So when these grant applications come forth, they put them out on here that they're requesting. When, for instance, the last project that came forth, the picnic table project, there was a certain dollar amount that was asked for, but then the board went ahead and made a motion for it to go above and beyond that. It creates a little bit of a problem when the next group of folks come forth and say, how much money's left? I don't know if I should go off the approved amount, which is generous of the board, don't get me wrong, or the amount they've asked for. I kind of have to go off the approved amount because you've approved up to that. But the odds are it's probably not going to be spent because most people have done the research and already figured out exactly what they want to spend. So it leaves staff in a little bit of a strange place trying to answer that particular question and preparing the next group of volunteers that are coming forth with other projects of lining out the amount of money that the grant program still has remaining in it for that fiscal year.
So I have a question.
Yep.
If we approve $650 for this project
Mm-hmm.
and it's $655, what happens?
They could come back and ask for additional funds if it hasn't been spent.
Right.
Or-
They could come with a receipt and it would be, oh, right, I mean,
Ultimately, if you've approved up to this amount, then that's the most we would be able to issue
Okay.
the check for.
all right.
Clay?
Yeah, my thought is, everybody has probably done their homework, like Robert said, and they've probably erred just slightly to cover any slight overages. So I think
on the application, I have two different figures for plants because they quoted me two different prices. And they said, if you buy so many, but they wouldn't tell me how many is so many, you get a little bit of a discount. So anywhere from I think 4 to 4.25 is what they said we would pay. So I think I figured on the high end. I'm trying to remember.
If
I don't have a
everybody
copy.
calculates on the high
You
end, I
did.
think we're
So
probably covered
I
by
figured
that.
it already a little bit on the high end.
Yeah.
All right.
That's my thought.
So I think I'm feeling comfortable with that amount.
Yep.
So-
Unless there's all of a sudden, you know,
My change.
jute goes up in price, but I doubt it, so.
So, the motion that is on the table, Lisa, is
Yes.
that we're going to approve the matching grant for $650,
Yes,
and Clay seconded.
yes.
We had some great discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no.
Thank you
Good
very
job.
much.
You've
Thank
got-
you.
Yes.
Interesting enough, our meeting this Thursday is going to be the Salem
The master
kayak tours or something like that as our guest speaker, so if you're interested.
Ooh,
Just
nice.
thought it was interesting since he was talking about it.
Awesome. Wonderful.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, now into parks updates. And Mike is not here, but he did send a park report, and I'm going to ask Lisa to share.
Yes, so, Sunset Park, according to Mark, I mean, and I will tell you that I have been at Sunset Park, and so he's completely right. It looks great. It has been raining a lot. The river is very high, but even with all the stormy weather, there's not a great deal of debris. A few twigs, no broken branches. And then Bob Newton Park, he stopped when it was raining pretty heavily, which would have been this week. The park as a whole looks clean and well taken care of. I did not notice any graffiti or vandalism. There was some standing water in a few spots near the gravel driveway and around the courts and covered area. So both parks look good, well maintained, and he's looking forward to spending time in them during the summer.
Wonderful. Awesome. Thank you. Clay.
Yeah, Hidden Creek is Hidden Creek, a little wet, but it's still there. Bear, I'm by there on a regular basis, looks good, no issues.
Matthew is not here, and I did not get a chance to go to Keizer Little League or Northview, but I did hear some great conversation at City Council regarding the lava dome. So more information to come about what that will look like, but it would be a stabilized covered area for some of the baseball, softball fields there. And so the lava dome to be continued. We'll find out more about that hopefully soon. And Matt.
Okay, and then I am Matt tonight as well. He is not here, but he sent an email. Wet, everything is freaking wet. Both parks look good. There was some trash at Chalmers Jones that he picked up. With the rain, the use in the park was minimal, but there was a lot of activity in the parking lot after dark. Clear Lake is good. There were some sticks pointed into the ground like spears that he removed. But Matt, who has great ideas, had an idea for a project. He wanted to do a spring cleaning day at the Big Toy. He'd like to get a bunch of people to get whatever approved cleaners, have some people spraying, some people scrubbing, some rinsers, to have a nice fun day of community service at the Big Toy. And so that's his idea. That's his idea.
So I'm assuming when he's back, we will hear details of when that will be kicked off. We'll jump in.
Yep.
Updates on Keizer Rapids Park.
Does anybody have anything besides Matt and the big toy cleanup? Okay, I will just say that to follow the other two reports here, wet. It has been soaking. I walked the other day and I would have been drier if I had just gone swimming. The paved trails through the woods and that access road are being used all the time. That's where people are walking. The dirt paths are very, very slippery and very, very soggy. The river's up. The floodplain's being used in its flooding capacity. And there's still tons of people, tons of dogs, everybody out there and enjoying the parks.
Wonderful.
So,
I did see some additional rock in the dog park area. Was a group of people that just goes out and spreads that, or what was the plan with?
Yeah, every year we bring a load or two of decomposed granite into the dog park, and that's what that material is, kind of looks like a sandy gravel. And multiple times in the winter, we have folks that use the park that say, hey, if you just dump it here, we'll spread it out where it needs to go, because they kind of have certain areas that it needs it more than others. And so we usually dump the pile there and let them kind of, move it around as they want. And then if it is remaining here in another couple months, we'll go in with our tractor when it's nice and dry and finish spreading that out and kind of smooth it. So kind of just a standard procedure that we've been doing for the last 6 to 7 years.
Nice.
And it works good.
That garbage can,
Creation.
new creation.
Like it?
Yes.
She sent me a
and
picture.
Everybody, yeah.
Yeah,
And everybody like people stop me and show me how wonderful it is.
yeah.
So it's a hit.
Good.
And it hasn't, the cover's never been off. It's
Right.
not full of, there's not trash all around. It's
Yeah.
not knocked over. It's good.
I'm glad we're getting good
We
feedback
really
on
like
that.
it.
I'm looking forward to finding a couple Eagle Scouts to come forth and say, hey, we'd love to construct these and install them throughout. And it can be kind of in phases, whatever they want to,
Nice.
take on. So it's kind of our goal in the future for those.
Okay.
We just wanted to put it in place and make sure that there's no tweaks before we, streamline that particular design.
Yeah.
So,
Awesome.
yeah.
And the other thing is I see there's at least one new sign in the park that says, please keep your dogs on a leash.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there are multiple.
There are multiple,
I don't
multiple,
walk
but-
certain places,
Yeah.
so. But I walk by that and it's like, oh, all right.
Okay. Next item is to cancel the May meeting. It sounds like there's a conflict with the budget committee. Debbie, do we need to vote on this? Yes, perfect. Okay, so
I move that we cancel the May meeting and meet again in June.
got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say, oh, just kidding, a
Well,
discussion.
no, I just wondered, when is our park tour?
In September.
It's September, okay. Perfect, then that was it.
So, the motion is to cancel the May meeting and just have our June meeting. We have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say no. Okay. We are canceling our May meeting. All right, moving right along. Robert, staff report.
Oops. We have been working down at Ben Miller Park. We got the old playground removed.
Yeah.
And we were down there today, actually. Thankfully, stopped raining long enough. We could get some paint to stick to the ground. We laid out the new footprint for that. And Thursday, we plan on getting in there with an excavator and some dump trucks and removing some soil and then preparing that with gravel. The Miller family, Randy Miller in particular, has offered his time to come assist in that project. He helped us remove the playground.
Cool.
And because I don't know if you guys know Randy Miller, he's a local here, but his father, Ben Miller, is who the park is named after. Used to own Ben's Rentals on Cherry, which is now Herc Rentals. But anyways, so he's helping with that project a lot, which we love, and it's great. Saves us a lot of money, actually, from subbing that work out. And then our park staff is coming aside him and just kind of supporting him, but he's actually the guy that's on the machine doing most of it. So anyways, expect to see that take place here in the next couple weeks, kind of preparing for the new build, and then the subcontractor will come in and actually construct the playground over the next 2 months, roughly, May and June. So we're excited to see that go. And then we're also adding additional access. There will be 2 access points into that park with ADA sidewalks throughout. So that'll be nice and smooth flowing through. Graffiti, unfortunately, Bob Newton got tagged really hard again day before yesterday. And so we had one of our staff members up there pretty much all day yesterday removing graffiti. Again, everything. Court, tables, structure, porta potty, all of it. So we just keep dealing with more of that. Really hoping that's gonna slow down one of these days. We'll see. We've been attempting to mow as we can, but that's not going so well right now. We're getting, spots here and there, but unfortunately, we're just kind of waiting for a break in the weather, which looks like we will hopefully get next week. So fingers crossed that actually happens.
Great.
And we were able to get 4 new trees planted at Country Glen Park. The ice storm kind of demolished those. We ordered some new ones last year, planted them. A few of those died just from stress. So we went ahead and removed the ones that died and put some new ones in their place. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that Country Glen line of trees will continue to thrive. And then the city received some money to go for food trucks at the amphitheater. It sounds like it was from Marion County. So we are proceeding with constructing a couple food truck pads behind the amphitheater. If you're familiar with that concrete area, there was a newer portion poured about 6 years ago that's a kind of a stamped concrete. It will tie in, there will be a sidewalk that ties into that behind the existing food concession stand that will be removed soon. And there will be space for 2 food trucks and then standing room in between, in front of the food trucks. So it'll be I think it is 40 by 25 foot pad with connector ADA sidewalks that lead to those.
So over by the Bigfoot?
Actually more, these will be constructed in the
You're right.
backyard of the old house, if you know where that was sitting. So this will actually sit in the backyard of that old property.
Yeah, because the
grass
that
area?
Sasquatch is right.
Yeah, we're not going towards the Sasquatch.
Okay.
Yeah. Too many trees over there. We want to keep it away from tree roots so it's not getting buckled up too quick. But anyways, if you see construction of that taking place in the near future, that's kind of what that'll be for. And that's really designed to be a support piece to the amphitheater. We don't plan on leaving food trucks down there year round. That doesn't really make sense where it's at, but it absolutely would function well as a support piece to the amphitheater and events that take place down there. So that's all I have for Parks Report. One event that Matt would probably mention, but he's not here, so I'm gonna pitch it for him. On the 22nd, April 22nd is Earth Day. And I know our environmental department is working to host an event at Keizer Rapids Park on Earth Day again. In the past, they've partnered with Soggy Day in the Park with Clyde Creek Watershed. This year, I don't believe they're involved, but there's still gonna be a really fun event down there with multiple activities. I know we're having the kid dig station, some hikes of some sort, and then some other stations. So if you know anybody who's interested, send them down. It's, I believe, gonna be from 9 to noon or 10 to 2, somewhere in there. I
Nice
don't
job,
remember
9 to
exact
noon.
times, but
It's right here.
yeah, you have it?
Nice job. Yes, you're
Sweet.
nailing it.
I'm doing okay.
Yes,
Right
he's
on.
not lying.
All by memory.
He knows what he's talking about.
Okay.
Nice job.
And Robert, I just
Yeah.
have one question. When do we typically turn on the water fountains in the parks?
Once we know frost is behind us, that is like right now,
be
pretty
next
much.
week.
Although I
Okay.
got a warning on my phone today that said 31 tonight. I did too. So of course we think we're out of it'll be very, very soon.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect, thank you.
Good question. That's it.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, Counselor Kohler.
Thank you, Chair Hamilton. Soggy Day in the Park is in conjunction with Earth Day, so they are doing that. I'm on the Clyde Creek Watershed Council too. So yes, we're combining efforts to do that. Just a couple of things on my list today. The first thing that was on my list was the Lava Dome at Keizer Little League Park.
I stole it, I'm
So
sorry.
thank you for mentioning
No.
that. We're in negotiations shortly, we'll be in negotiations shortly as they are searching for the funding to do that. There will be some preliminary contract negotiations will have to be in, and we're working on some of those things now. So
Great.
if that is to come to pass, it will be pretty exciting to see a dome over the quad fields and see the wall field painted and have the green monster. And so some interesting possibilities there. So that's pretty exciting. And there continues to be progress on the turf fields down at Keizer Rapids. Exciting to see all that's going on. I just emailed the scoutmaster for Troop 121, and he emailed back and said, great. So be expecting a phone call. And that's what I have.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Other business, board, we have a council report. Clay, are you up for Monday, April 17th?
Yes, should work.
Wonderful. Any other business?
What time is that at?
7. And our next board meeting will be June 13th. So remember, no May meeting. If you show up, you're going to run into the budget committee,
Yeah, not nearly as
which should
fun.
be fine.
I'll still be here. So
Okay, you will
it's
be,
okay.
great.
Well, there you
You'll
go.
get to see Counselor Kohler. Awesome. Okay, I think we are adjourned. 6:43.